fill this out in the comment section. In the name of the moon, I'll... And give me the wrong answers only. Alright, so we're counting down to Sailor Moon Eternal appearing on Netflix with the English dub. Finally, still kind of spoiled on the internet because Japan got first access and some people just couldn't wait to share the news. But at the same time, for any diehard fan, like myself, if you can tell. But for anyone who's seen Super S, you already know what happens. But yeah, we're here to have some fun. Celebrate the 2 movies coming out on Netflix June 3rd in English dub. I had someone, I'm gonna leave their message here, suggest, hey, maybe to celebrate the movies coming out, you can rank the Sailor Scouts in a tier list. Sure, that sounds fun. But I decided to do something a little bit extra. I decided to rank each of the Sailor Scouts, both manga/crystal version and the 90s version, because a lot of the characters are just very different. There's the manga version, which is also the crystal version, because crystal is pretty much an exact copy of the manga, and the 90s anime, we all know, wasn't really an exact copy of the original manga. It had its own thing with the story and the monsters and each of the character arcs and personalities. So we're gonna rank them. We're gonna rank each Sailor Scout from their different generations, comparing their powers, how useful they are to the team, and generally if they are a good character or not. So here we go. Okay, so we have Sailor Moon 90s versus Sailor Moon Crystal. This one is definitely harder because I do feel like the Crystal version had a more mature arc compared to the 90s one, which the 90s one kept going back and forth between childish and serious. Because at the same time, they're teenagers, they're going through high school, and they just want to relax and enjoy their days when they're not fighting monsters. Crystal was kind of like that, but you still saw some maturity and arc within her. She is the strongest scout with the Eternal Crystal. She's gonna take over the future generation under Neo Crystal Tokyo as Neo Queen Serenity. Overall, she's like a mixture of like a powerful character because, you know, she's a moon princess and the leader of the Sailor Scouts, but still is a relatable character. She's a teenager, she wants to watch anime, read manga, eat yummy food, spend time with her boyfriend, thinking about the future, thinking about getting married, etc. She just wants to be a normal girl and enjoy her life, but these monsters just keep trying to ruin the peace on Earth, and she's the only one with her girls and boyfriend that can save the world. So I think in some ways you felt more for Crystal/manga version because you saw, you know, how she was really trying to have a normal life but still having to run into such BS, and you saw a little bit of that trauma in Stars because, damn. It's so hard. Definitely Crystal Sailor Moon, I'm probably gonna put her in the S rank. She doesn't give up on her friends. She is always there to defend. She is the one at whom we can depend. She is the one named Sailor Moon. For now, I'm just gonna put him here because I do think the Crystal Sailor Moon is just slightly bit better than, even though they're still kind of the same character. Nothing really much changed about them because they're both teenagers and they're both, you know, just trying to live life and have fun, but they will throw down when the enemies come and disrupt her peace. But I just think the Crystal version, you see a little bit more maturity with her as the story continues. If that makes sense. Who knows if I'm gonna switch it back or not? I don't know, but this is what I'm going with so far. Okay, Inner Scouts. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Okay, we're gonna start with Mercury. Power-wise, she's got bubbles and water. She still is pretty strong, and the one unique thing about her is her computer, which can... Honestly, she just, like, stops a fight, like, hold up, let me scan this shit. Okay, yeah, that's the weakness, you're welcome. Very sweet and very shy. That's what they got from both the 90s and the manga version / Crystal version. But they honestly went more for a stereotype with the 90s, where all she worries about is studying, getting good grades. There are episodes where it kind of, you know, focuses more on that trait. Unless it's Super S, where it follows her one hobby that she was interested in the most, which was her, trying to, get into music, creating lyrics to some beautiful music that she heard some musician play. So you saw a little bit more of that trait, but for the most part, it's just study, study, study. We're Sailor Scouts, but we still need to go to a good college. But at the same time, you have Crystal Mercury, and same thing with the powers on the computer, just being OP, finding weaknesses, and just studying the area, but her personality just doesn't really shine compared to the 90s, even though the 90s is still a stereotype. I don't know. Overall, with Mercury, she's a smart team player. Will use her abilities to scan the area, make sure everything is safe and efficient. It's so hard, because I have an issue with the 90s Inner Scouts and, just with how stereotyped their characters are, but compared to the Crystal and manga versions, there wasn't really much to them, unless we get to Venus and Mars, which we're gonna get to them. But Mercury, I love her the bits and pieces. She is precious. I think I'm gonna put her in B for now. I'm gonna say maybe, I don't know, like that. It's so hard to choose because Crystal, boring, 90s, always obsessed with studying and, being annoying to everyone, kind of, when it's all like, oh, you have to study, 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 study. I'm just gonna have to put Crystal under 90s because, bottom line, you just remember Mercury, if that makes sense. You remember 90s Mercury, even though it's a huge stereotype. Nerd! Mars! Oh boy, Mars is very powerful. She is the flame goddess. She can use her telekinetic powers to sense when there's evil spirits around and use her spiritual powers to get rid of them. But that is basically her sixth sense right there. Different personalities. Like, these two Marses are not the same. Because 90s Mars, sadly, was turned into the typical rival. The one that just had to poke fun at Sailor Moon. There always had to be that one character that just had to get the main character's goat. Like, yeah, well, I'm still better than you. And oh my god, Serena, you're like so annoying. And like, I could totally like hit up on Darian. You just don't see the potential in him, you freaking lazy donut eating meatball head nerd, you. But as for Crystal Mars, she was supposed to be the refined beauty, like the shrine maiden goddess that everyone was talking about, and she was a bit paranoid at first with how Moon treated her at first, before she became a Sailor Scout, but after that, she was just very refined and polite, ladylike, and through the Sailor Scout, she's able to open up a bit more. I just wish I could see more of that. But as we get to the Stars manga, the most random thing happens. I might explore that more when we get to Venus, because it is pretty random. I think I'll put Crystal Mars a little bit above Mercury, so I'm gonna put her at top B. And 90s Mars probably in bottom B, because both of them are powerful, they're very skilled, and 90s Mars will be a tease. Like, she'll be teasing Sailor Moon, but she's still her good friend and really comes through, and her personality does change towards the end, but it's just getting through that beginning phase of her being Moon's rival, and it's just like, this is unnecessary. I definitely prefer refined Crystal manga Mars. I just wish I could see more of it. That's just my only gripe. Jupiter is the brute strength, but also lightning queen. One of the strongest Intersenshis because of her physical strength and her lightning attacks. Just damn, girl. Both versions are kind of the same. She is the misunderstood brute strength that people fear, but she's very kind at heart, loves cooking, loves cute things. There's honestly not much of a difference between the two. It's just 90s version got a little annoying when all she could think about was her senpai. Like, that guy reminds me of Senpai. That guy reminds me of Senpai. Senpai, 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 Senpai. Where's my Senpai? I miss my Senpai. Are you my Senpai? So that was random. At the same time, like, her character arc of, showing that she does have a cute side, that she has an emotional side, that she can be humanized despite the fact that she is very tall and very strong. It doesn't mean that she can't be ladylike. So I'm definitely gonna put her in the A category. I just might put Crystal above her because, again, that senpai thing was just... Oi, like, okay, calm down. We're gonna find you a new senpai. Just shush. Venus! Kind of different personalities. Both are very sweet. They are like the sister type. They look out for their team. They care about their team. They're pretty much second in command. Manga version tricked the readers into thinking that she was the Moon Princess, even though she was Sailor V for Venus. So we all knew right then and there she wasn't the Moon Princess. But she did that because she was second in command. She looked after the inner senshis, and above all, she wants to protect the princess. You saw more of her leadership through Crystal in the manga rather than the 90s anime, which had her a little bit self-absorbed in some way. Not in the worst way, just she was very hyper, a little bit of a ditz, loved going to concerts, she wanted to be a singing idol, she worked hard for that. She was very bubbly and energetic and got a little creepy when she was jealous of the other Sailor Scouts when they had their pure heart crystals taken away. And she was like, everyone has a pure heart but me, I got a pure heart too, and it's like, girl, give it time. You're just as good as the others, don't doubt yourself. But when, like, her crystal finally gets taken out, she's just, like, the one that ended up in this creepy situation where her will took over her body, even though everybody else passed out. But her will took over her body, she does this creepy little giggle and then runs away with her pure heart. And there's, like, everybody in the whole area like, what? I'm sorry. What? No one's ever done this. No one has had their heart ripped out and run away with it. You okay, girl? And the thing with their futures and priorities was brought up by the Sailor Starlights, where in the 90s anime, Yaten was questioning if she had time to try out to be a singing idol rather than prioritizing her responsibilities as a Sailor Scout. And she proves to them that she could do both. Porque no los dos, bitches? Whereas the manga version, they kind of, address the same situations. Like, you don't really have time to prod around and do useless things when your galaxy is in trouble all the time. And you don't even have time to find love. And Mars and Venus were all like, we could totally find love. We're just not finding any right now. But we could totally have boyfriends if we wanted to. But then they just randomly turn to each other and they're like, you know what? We don't need men in our lives. We got each other. Got a problem with that? And it's just like, huh. Okay. And I want to point that out because I know, like, some people are gonna, like, once Stars eventually gets animated, they're gonna look at this scene like, wait, did they add that in because of, the shifting times of modern era? And it's like, no. Legit, Mars and Venus form a relationship in the series finale. It's just like, oh, well, alright then. Yeah, you guys are cute, whatever. So you heard it here. Read the manga. Hear it from me. Mars and Venus were a thing in the manga. That was random. But we still liked it. But back on topic. Venus. She's a leader, she's a sweetheart, she's like the positive one that keeps their spirits up, and she's the goddess of love. Power-wise, like, I don't really see her as strong as the other members. I mean, they say she's the second strongest, and she's, like, second in command, so she has to be, but it's just, when you compare it to, like, water, fire, and frickin' lightning, and then you have love. I don't know, you'd be that kid from Captain Planet that got heart. That poor kid. Jeez, I did not think this through. Where am I gonna put her? I mean, I like her. She's a very sweet character, and she really looks out for the team. I say Venus from Crystal. Where am I gonna put her? I might put her a bit higher, because in the second arc with the Dark Moon family, she was the only one not to get captured besides Sailor Moon. Like, Mars, Mercury, and Venus were captured, and she's just like, yo, what gives? What's up with you guys? So yeah, I take back my statement about her not being as strong, because she's the only one that didn't get captured besides Moon and Tuxedo Mask. And she's like, bruh, what the hell? Because of her devotion, but also her positive nature, I'll put her in A. For 90s, I'm probably gonna put her at B. Because, like, I think sometimes her priorities kind of shift every now and then, but again, it's just the problems of 90s aesthetics and stereotyping. She's the bubbly airhead that wants to be a singing idol and full of energy and positivity, and she was that one member. Like, Mercury was the nerd, Ray was the rival slash tease, bully, mean girl, but still has a heart of gold. Jupiter was the misunderstood tough one with a heart of gold, and Venus was the bubbly airhead. That was just our 90s aesthetics. Chibi Moon! Oh boy. I might put Crystal above 90s, because at least Chibi Moon knew who her parents were. It still weirds me out though that, like, you know, Crystal Chibi Moon, she's mature, but she's still acting like a young child. That she's frustrated, she's emotional, and she wants to be stronger to protect the ones that she loves, but she feels constantly weak, and she wants to better herself and feel older. It's just weird how, like, she's 900 years old, but has the body of a child because her powers never awaken. It's just like, why did it take you 900 years for you to do that? So I'm probably gonna put Chibi Moon in C. Mainly because 90s Chibi Moon was annoying, always poking fun at Sailor Moon, wanting to take Mamoru away, which is like, that's your dad? Girl? That's your daddy. Why are you hitting up on your dad? Like, I don't get it. Even as Black Lady, Wicked Lady, however you want to call her, she was still trying to take Mamoru away, and it's like, girl, that's your daddy. You try to take him away, you are never going to be born. Like, I don't get what you're trying to do. I wonder if, like, this was ever brought up in the future. Like, sweetie, do we have to have the talk? How about no? Incest is not wincest, my dear, and I'm not interested. Stop. I'm your dad. That's a big negative point, but Crystal above 90s because she at least knew who Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask and all the Sailor Scouts were, because, you know, she grew up with them. She probably knew about their past and who they were and what their names were, and probably did her freaking research before she went back in time. I am just saying. Come on. Chibi Moon being all surprised and so like, where's the Imperial Silver Crystal? It has to be with my past mom, but which one could she be? And it's like, girl. And even in the Super S arc, it's like, she gets to hang out with a unicorn, doesn't really tell anyone about it, but at the same time, she just felt pressured not to do it because I think Pegasus just wanted to be left alone, kept in secret, etc., etc. Saying, no one should know that I'm here, so please protect this little secret, and took a whole freaking season. Like, Super S was pretty long with the Amazon Trio, Amazon Quartet, and then finally there's like, oh, there's Pegasus. Hello, there's good sir. But I didn't really see that much of an arc. It's just, the only arc she really had was with the second arc with the Black Moon family, where she got frustrated, she's trying to help her family, she feels like everything is her fault, and the Black Moon family took advantage of her insecurities. But everything else after that is just, hey, I'm a Sailor Scout, and hi. Alright, so Chibi Moon's at sea. Cute character, but oi. Oh, Uranus and Neptune. Uranus and Neptune. Okay, so both girls, are freaking powerful. They are amazing. But the 90s anime treated them like trash. Like, they were so impossible to work with. They knew they were powerful. They knew they were the guardians of the outer regions of the Milky Way. And they made everyone damn well know who they were. And how they just treated everyone like they were beneath them in some ways. Like, we may have to murder people to save the entire galaxy. You children would never understand. And it's like, hold up. Where were you when we faced off Beryl and the Dark Moon family? And 90s anime when we faced off against Ann and Alan? Come on. We're in this fight together. We're Sailor Scouts. I'm Queen Serenity / Princess Serenity. You know me as a princess, but I'm gonna be freaking queen soon. Just saying. And for Uranus to freaking take away her crystal in, Sailor Moon S, being all like, yo, just get in our way. Like, bitch! You just ripped away the most powerful thing in the entire Milky Way, took it with you, and nearly had the enemy taken. It's just like, are you that stupid? Oh, the 90s were just awful to Uranus and Neptune. So yeah, I'm sorry, but Uranus and Neptune from the 90s are an F. It's one thing for, in Sailor Moon S, for them to treat their teammates like utter crap, and for them to pressure Pluto to go with them, because it's like, we're the Outer Guardians, we need to take care of this, they just wouldn't understand. It's one thing to do that. It's another thing when they got paranoid around Hotaru when she was discovered as a baby, and they were just like, oh, are we gonna have to kill a freaking baby or something? It's like, hold up. Like, they were like determining what they're gonna do with this girl, because it's like, I mean, she's gonna get reborn either way, you two. Like, you guys can't exist without her. It's just if she needs to be on call or not. Like, they really handled that kind of, explanation poorly. It's just like, she is the guardian of death and rebirth. She's too dangerous to exist. And yet, she doesn't have to use that ability. I'm just saying, girls. I am just saying. But it's also another thing when Sailor Moon was so close to forming a partnership, like a team union between her and the Sailor Starlights. She's just like, yo, we're fighting the same enemy. I get what you guys are doing. I don't really have to know the details. Let's just work together, because the last thing I want is for my planet to die. And if you're just here to find someone, then fine, I'll help you guys. Let's just work together. And they were just like, okay, yeah, we can dig it. And then these two just jump in like, no. Y'all are from another galaxy. We don't trust outsiders. And it's like, oh my god, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? They were going to help us. We are going to be friends. There is no need for this drama if we're going to get along. What are you two doing? So yeah, they pretty much cause way too much unnecessary drama. That's why 90s Uranus and Neptune are an F tier for me. Manga and Crystal version, mwah. Oh, I love them to pieces. They are precious. Oh, I love everything about them. Like, Uranus was just so much better in Crystal. Like, my heart bled for her. Like, she knew that she was the guardian of the outer region. She yearned to be by the princess's side. And when she finally had that opportunity, a part of her was like, I really shouldn't, because, I'm an outer scout. I need to protect the outer region. This whole thing started because we failed. I really don't want to burden the princess with something that we need to take care of. And that's just like, okay, I get that. I actually understand that. Like, that is a perfectly logical explanation, and a very, understandable one, because she didn't want to burden her princess. But when she finally gets the opportunity to fight alongside her, you just see so much joy in her face, and it's just like, aw, sweetie. Oh, you're precious. I just wish enough time was given to Neptune, and if, like, the Eternal movies are gonna be anything like the Super S arc, they're just one big happy family raising baby Hotaru. Like, they took care of her at the end of S. They're just like, hey, Hotaru's a baby now. Let's just be a happy family and take care of her. And they just fly away, find a home in the countryside to raise their precious newborn baby, and it's just like, aww, I love you all to pieces. And they actually, once they got to know Hotaru as a person, and they're just like, okay, she's not that bad. She doesn't have to use her powers unless necessary. As long as we do our job, she doesn't have to go all explodey on us. So, she's cool. And we love her. We're a happy family with 3 moms here. So, yeah. Crystal Uranus is an S rank. I'm gonna have to... Neptune maybe an A. Because there is another adorable scene in the Stars manga where they go back to high school, like, just to experience it. Because they never really had a high school experience. And they still kind of look like high schoolers, so they were just like, let's just go to school together! And you will be seeing Uranus in a schoolgirl outfit. Like, as she's in the male outfit in Stars, she's just like, well, maybe I want to try on the girl uniform. I'm still gonna look sexy. So yeah, 90s Uranus and Neptune, I hate them. Crystal manga, Uranus and Neptune, I love them. I hope this makes sense. 90s Pluto! I don't know anything about her. She just watched The Door of Time, joined up with Uranus and Neptune when she was just like, oh yeah, this is that one point in history where I have to show up and show you guys that I have the 3rd amulet, talisman, hi. And she just follows Uranus and Neptune everywhere. She doesn't really do much. Like, the only significant thing she ever did was inform the scouts that, like, hey, Chibi Moon's trapped in a dream. Y'all get in there and help her, please. And, like, from there, like, I don't know, like, out of the blue, when in Sailor Moon S, when they're trying to enter a toxic building through a helicopter, which I'm just like, why are you that dumb? Like, the girls are trying to enter from the ground floor where it's safe. There could be, like, lasers shooting out of the building, and all 3 of you are dead. Like, how can you be that dumb? And sure enough, that's what happened. The helicopter blows up. Pluto wastes her energy. Like, she uses a taboo ability to stop time, get Uranus and Neptune out of there, and then she dies. Quote unquote. And Uranus and Neptune are there to, like, go into the building and, try to stop Pharaoh 90, etc., etc. Again, you 2 are so stupid. Like, you're up in a helicopter where it could easily crash and burn and die. I'm just sitting there asking, what are you 2 doing? But she had to save their sorry asses and then randomly appear in Stars. Being all like, hey, I'm actually alive, and hey, I found a baby. Don't ask where I got her. She literally took a baby Hotaru from Professor Tomoe. It's just like, hey, this is your daughter and all, but we're just gonna, yeah, my baby now, bye. Like, what'd she do to Professor Tomoe? Like, Pluto, I want to know. What did you do to Tomoe? Did you just randomly go up to a guy suffering from amnesia and be all like, my baby now, bye? I want to know. What the hell, Pluto? What the hell? But yeah, other than that, there's nothing much to Pluto. She's powerful. She's got, deadly scream and everything, but character-wise, there was nothing really much to her. She's just stoic. She follows Uranus and Neptune around everywhere. She helped take care of Saturn when she was a baby. But again, you took a baby from a still alive and breathing father. So, we're just gonna put you in the D. Gonna put you in the D category, because that just made 0 sense. Like, again, I guess in the 90s anime, they were just like, Hotaru's dad's still alive. And from S, we kind of, left the baby with him. So it's like, whoops. Well, how is Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune gonna, have baby Hotaru to raise? We're just baby stealers now. Crystal / manga Pluto. Like, there is a whole different character to her. Like, she has a slight infatuation with King Endymion. She just wholeheartedly loves Serenity for, just giving her the chance to prove herself. She was lonely as the guardian of time, But when she sacrificed herself to save the Sailor Scouts and Chibi Moon when she was possessed by, you know, the Dark Moon family, Neo Queen Serenity gave her a chance to be reborn, and we saw a different personality from her, and it's just like, oh my god, you're an actual person. Like, she is just enthralled with science. She loves studying plants. You actually see her in school studying. Rude. And then when she remembers that she's a Sailor Scout, she just transforms and is all like, okay, I'm back. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Much more of a delightful personality. And she was happy to just be part of the team and just be away from that door for the first time in forever. Oh my god, she's like the Anna of Sailor Moon.
'Cause for the first time in forever.
Instead of like, open the doors, Elsa, open up. It's just, can I get away from this door, please? Please. She did everything she could to prevent the apocalypse in Sailor Moon S with the talismans and summoning Saturn. And it's just like, oh, Saturn's here. Well, damn. And again, like, when baby Hotaru was there all by herself and, you know, no family, the three of them are just like, baby. And the three of them just, like, form this amazing family where they just take care of each other and this little baby. And it's just like, aw. Like, again, both versions, you know, have a deep bond with Chibi Usa, but I just see more of it from the manga Crystal version of Pluto, and there's just more to Setsuna in the Crystal manga version. So I'm going to put this delightful Sailor Scout, I'm going to put her in the A category. Oh, my favorite girl, Sailor Saturn. Did you know she's my favorite? Very difficult because both versions to me were just great. You definitely get a more tragic side with the 90s version where she was being manipulated by Pharaoh 90 and the aliens, and she was going to be Mistress 9, but she still had a loving relationship with her father. She hated Carrie Knight being her babysitter, and she was just, you know, happy to be a part of Chibiusa's life, to actually have a friend, and she was bullied when she was little. But afterwards in Sailor Moon Stars, when she awakens, there's really not much to her. It's just she uses Silent Wall, and she's still one of the deadliest Sailor Scouts because she can reset the whole galaxy. Like, yeah, shit's hit the fan, there's no repairing this, so reset! Let's just reset the galaxy. You're welcome. But yeah, in Stars, they mostly focused on the Inner Scouts, Uranus and Neptune being bitches, and Pluto and Saturn were just left in the back burner like, hey, we're still here. And even then, like, Uranus and Neptune, like, pulled that one scheme where they were trying to trick Galaxia into using her abilities to take her crystal. But in order to prove that she could trust them, they had to kill Saturn and Pluto, so it's just like, oh, I see how it is. Okay, bye. Still a really good character, though, and you just felt sorry for her and her father and their tragic situation. Just as a Sailor Scout, there wasn't really that much to her, so I'm gonna put her 90s Saturn probably in the A category. Just slightly above Crystal Pluto. Crystal Saturn, however, oh, my oh, I'm squeezing my cheeks, but you can't see it. Crystal Saturn, like, that girl, she's a fighter. Even when she had, like, this dark entity possessing her and trying to take over her body and even destroying her body, Hotaru was fighting to protect her friends. And there's, like, Mistress 9 getting upset, like, hey, I'm supposed to do my thing, and Hotaru's like, bitch, this is my body, these are my friends, screw you. Oh, I loved everything about Crystal Saturn, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of her in Eternals. Sadly, there's not much for her in Stars. But now I think about it, like with the Stars manga, it's like once everything started happening, Sailor Moon was just all like, hey, wait a minute, where are the Outer Scouts? Oh, shit! So again, like with 90s Saturn, you know, after Sailor Moon S, there isn't really that much to her. Once they awaken her and she contributes her powers to Sailor Moon, it's all just downhill for Saturn. But I'm gonna give her a little bit more of a boost because, like, that fight that she did to save the Inner Scouts and Chibi Usa with just her spirit alone, even if it meant that she was going to disintegrate and just disappear forever, it's just like, oh my baby. And then when she awakens as Sailor Saturn, she makes that little jab at herself like, I'm always the one guest nobody wants to see. And it's like, oh my baby. Oh. So yeah, I'm putting Crystal Saturn at S. I love her to pieces. I love her sassiness. I love her spirit. I love her strength. There's not much she can really do because her powers are so chaotic and destructive that she can reset a freaking galaxy. But even without that, she is still a fighter. Unlike with the anime version where she's like, oh, my glaive broke. Well, I guess I'll die now. Finally! My boy, Tuxedo Mask. Oh boy. His character was mostly just there for drama in the 90s. You know, with his relationship with Sailor Moon. Like, that was the pivotal moment in the second arc where some entity was telling him, hey, your love for her will literally destroy her. And he's like, oh, I guess I won't date her. And it just created this whole soap opera scenario, which I'm just like, I'm on board for it. I eat that stuff up for breakfast. Unlike with R, where it's just like, oh, well, I guess none of that's in the manga. I accept that. So I do like the 90s version of Sailor Moon R. But Sailor Moon, the first season with Tuxedo Mask, is just like, what? Because I think he had like amnesia. He doesn't even control his powers that allow him to transform him into Tuxedo Mask. Until later on when he grabs the rainbow crystal, he's like, oh hey, cool, I am Tuxedo Mask. Neat. But he was such a jerk to Usagi because 90s banter. Of course they hate each other, but then they love each other, and you are sick of that trope already. But then after R, it's like, he really has nothing better to do until Stars. Even in Super S, it was all just the inner Senjis with Chibi Moon, and then when the Dead Moon Circus takes away Chibi Moon and they start poisoning the Earth, Mamoru's like, oh, I'm having a stroke, bye. Like, from Sailor Moon S, he's only there to heal Chibi Usa. Super S, he's out. He's out, guys. Peace. And I think he had a little bit of a conversation with Helios, but that was it. He contributed nothing. And it was so sad. Stars, he did propose to Sailor Moon. It's just like, aww. And then you find out what happens to him and Galaxia, and it's just like, oh. And you can't help but tear up at the very end when Sailor Moon thinks she's all by herself. She lost her friends and she's just all alone, but then they just come back to life. And she's just very happy. But then when Mamoru shows up, you're just like, oh, my man. Oh, I love you. But yeah, because of how chaotic his character was at the very beginning, and the majority of the time he's just there to throw a rose, say a catchphrase, and then leave. Again, that meme. My job here is done. You didn't do anything. Whoosh. I love you, but at the same time, there wasn't really much for you to do, so you're gonna be in top C. Crystal Mamoru! My boy, my legend, he gets his crystal, he has more stuff to do. S rank above Uranus, cause damn, he got an upgrade. Like, when you read the manga and then you see him in the 90s anime, you're just like, oh, you're pointless, aren't you? But when you see him in Crystal, it's just like, yes, you get more to do. You get redemption, my boy. This is your destiny. You have more to do with the Scouts than anyone expected you to do. You are more than that meme, sir. He knew who he was in the first arc, and he didn't give Sailor Moon any banter. He was just like making a few comments here and there, but he was never mean to her. They actually form a believable relationship, and you're just like, aw. Like, before Usagi and Mamoru remember that they were Endymion and Serenity in the original 90s anime, it was just banter, blockhead, meatball head, jerk, blah 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 blah. It's just like, how can you two form a relationship? But again, that was the trope. They hate each other only to realize they love each other. But in Crystal and in the manga, they actually form a decent relationship that you can actually get behind and support. You can believe that these two are passionately in love. But there are times where Mamoru feels like he's insufficient compared to the other girls, so he's going to do everything he can to get stronger, find new powers for him to use in order to protect his princess, because he was a soldier, he's a prince, he's the guardian of Earth. It's kind of a big deal, so he should be a big deal. And you see that growth through Crystal, and it's just, oh my boy, you get everything you deserve and I love you. Mwah. And of course in Eternal he has more stuff to do, he gets his own golden crystal. And then when Stars, the manga, gets animated and that fight at the very end, I'm not gonna spoil much for those who don't know, but trust me, it's going to be epic. It's going to be amazing. It's just like, oh, the agony is gonna start in that series. Can't wait. I can't wait to torture myself and cry. Okay, I'm just gonna look over my tier ranking. Probably switch these two maybe, because I just love Saturn to pieces. But then again, it's just like, I was just so proud of Uranus, but I'm also proud of Saturn. These two are tied, honestly. Actually, yeah, I think I'm actually pretty satisfied with this, because Crystal Sailor Moon was a very believable character. You know, sympathize with her and understood that she was just a normal girl trying to live a normal life, only for her to have to accept this huge task of defending every living creature in the Milky Way galaxy. She's just like, oh, okay. Doing her best, you see her struggle, but at the same time you see her mature. Just slightly more mature than the 90s version, which was just her bickering with Mars and Chibi Usa and questioning, you know, if Mamoru is seeing other people or if she's gonna choose Chibi Usa. It's like, I'm sorry, choose your daughter over you? What? I mean, it takes the two of you to form her, and you think he's gonna choose her. Freaking idiot, what? Crystal Mamoru, yes, my king. You are worthy, king, love you. Crystal Saturn, yes. Freaking love her with or without her power. She is amazing. S tier Uranus, just yes. You are freaking amazing. Neptune Crystal, she is adorable. She is precious. She needs to be protected. But at the same time, I wish there was just more of her rather than just her being nice. And it's just Uranus that got most of the attention. And Neptune's just like, okay, dear. I follow you. I love you. Mwah. Crystal Jupiter and 90s Jupiter, relatively the same, so they're kind of tied in the A rank. Venus, again, she is the sweetheart, she is the second in command, she's the sisterly type, and freaking strong, love her. 90s Saturn, I'm just a huge fan of Saturn in general. I just, you know, I root for her, I support her, I just feel sorry for her, and just love her to pieces. Pluto Crystal, you know, had a much more developed character. She was much more fleshed out, and you got to know her personality, what her likes were and dislikes, and just how she just formed this wonderful family with Crystal Uranus and Crystal Neptune. It's just one big happy family, and I love them all. B rank, we have 90s Venus, because of her bubbly attitude, a bit of a ditz, and kind of very chaotic with her energy, but still love her. Crystal Mars, very refined and elegant and very nice and just happy to be part of the team, happy to have some friends and have a life. Freaking strong, Fire Queen. There just needs to be more characteristics to her. 90s Mercury, probably the only Sailor Scout from the 90s that is better than her Crystal version. Because Crystal version just feels like there's nothing much to her other than, like, you know, she's shy, she uses water, uses her computer, she just wants to help out the team and be strong. 90s is that, but also has a defining characteristic. It's just very stereotyped, and that's why she's in the B rank. 90s Mars, bully, rival at first, but she changes from there on out and becomes more of a supportive friend and a friend that Usagi can depend on. And you believe it, that when she's in danger, that Moon actually just feels horrifically bad for her. It's just like, nobody touches Mars. But at the very beginning, it was just like, you meatball head. That guy calls you a meatball head, so I'm gonna call you a meatball head because, like, yeah, I don't know why you're the leader. Like, I should be the leader because you're just such a freaking ditz, Usagi. Ugh, 90s. C rank, we have Tuxedo Mask from the 90s, cause, yeah. He just shows up, throws a rose, and walks away. There's nothing much to him, and in the first season, he was a bit of a jerk. And it's just part of the whole 90s curse. He was pretty cool in the R movie, though. I will give him that. That was his movie to shine. Both of the Chibi Usas are in the C rank because, you know, she tries to be stronger, just like her parents. And she's frustrated, and you understand her from that perspective, or like she's just trying her best, but she feels like, you know, she's not strong enough. But you root for her. It's at the same time, she is a bit annoying, and you can't give her the fact that she's crushing over her dad, and you're just like, girl, let it go. That's your dad. Stop it. 90s Pluto is in the D rank because there's not really much to her. It's just like, you're there to do something to progress the plot, and that's it. She's not really that memorable compared to the other Sailor Scouts. Not even as memorable compared to her counterpart in Crystal in the manga, which is like, why? And finally, you know what? Because Uranus is more intolerable. 90s Uranus is the worst. Uranus and Neptune are in the F rank from the 90s, because, yeah, they're not team players. They think everything is, you know, within their capability, that they have to do everything. They have to clean up everyone's messes. They feel like they have to get everything done. Like, not even the world's or the galaxy's strongest Sailor Scout can do what they have to do because they may have to kill people. You want to be sympathetic towards your enemy? Pshaw, you can't do our job. It's like, girl, try me, bitch. So yeah, that is my tier rank. Do you think some should be higher, some should be lower? What are your thoughts on my choices? And also, what are your thoughts? Like, which one do you think is your S rank top tier, and which one is your low F rank? Leave your answers in the comments down below. Coming up next, I will be working on the first episode impressions of the spring anime lineup. And for future updates on videos, just follow us on Twitter at Anime America. And more than likely, when the Sailor Moon Eternal movies come out, I will be reviewing them, letting you guys know how I feel about them. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you everyone so much for watching. More awesome videos will be on the way, so stay tuned to Anime America. Bye! In the name of the moon, I am gonna smite Uranus and Neptune. 90s version, because Crystal version are my children. They're my daughters. I'm Lady Dimitrescu. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are my daughters. Don't hurt them. Hey there, if you like what we do on this channel, be sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. If you wish to support us financially, we do have a Patreon page with numerous rewards to fit your budget. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Anime America, and be sure to check out our other channel, Pop Spectrum. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to Anime America.